Tonight's headlines, hot off the press. Union victorious, Confederates crushed. King loses crown, says Normans no more. And German U-boat takes wrong turn, ends up in Bath. Plus, later in the show we'll be asking, can cockroaches survive on the moon? That's the headlines, truth farted.
News bang, unmasking deception's true face in the battlefield of truth and trust. Some 1863.
The Union forces have sent the Confederates scurrying back to Mama at the Battle of Bristow Station. A 45-minute skirmish that proved cutlery can indeed be a weapon. Armed with nothing but spoons and righteous indignation, the Yankees repelled wave after wave of bewildered rebels.
Eyewitness Jebediah Cornpone, a man whose vocabulary is as colourful as his overalls, declared, "It was like a pie-eating contest gone wrong, spoons flying everywhere. I reckon those Yanks could scoop the gravy off a biscuit at 50 paces."
General Meade's spoon and shout strategy has been hailed as a stroke of genius, leaving Confederate General A.P. Hill fleeing the battlefield on a donkey screaming, "Retreat! Retreat! We're out of spoons."
Hedween, 1066.
England has fallen. The throne has been usurped by William the Conqueror, a Frenchman with a questionable haircut and a penchant for invading other people's countries. King Harold, alas, is no more, having received an unscheduled eye exam at the Battle of Hastings.
Eyewitnesses report Harold's last words were, "Bloody Normans, and I just got my crown polished." The battle, a bloody spectacle of medieval mayhem, saw thousands clash in a fight that could only be described as Game of Thrones with less incest and more mud.
Local peasant Ethelred the Unwashed, while scratching his beard and contemplating the implications, remarked, "Well, at least the wine will be better."
Ulysses, 1939.
Shocking news from Scapa Flow. A German U-boat, disguised as a particularly large and inquisitive dolphin, has infiltrated the Royal Navy's supposedly impregnable base, sinking the battleship HMS Royal Oak. Over 800 British sailors now sleep with the fishes, and the Admiralty is in a right royal tizzy.
Local fishmonger Nigel Barnacle, who witnessed the attack while practicing his mermaid routine, exclaimed, "I thought it was a friendly dolphin. Then it blew a hole in the Royal Oak. I haven't seen that much seawater since I forgot to put the plug in my bath."
Admiral Sir Reginald Puffington Smythe, a man whose name is almost as long as his list of naval blunders, admitted, "We thought our defences were watertight. Turns out they're more like a sieve in a submarine."
News bang, bringing you the slime of tomorrow today.
And now, for a weather report that's as unpredictable as British cuisine, here's our meteorological maverick, Shakanaka Giles, with today's forecast.
Good evening, viewers. Down southeast, prepare for a right proper soaking. It's raining stair rods, folks, the sort that could drown a dwarf's picnic. The Turia River's getting a bit restless, and I wouldn't be surprised if it decides to go for a swim through Valencia. Best stay indoors, unless you fancy a spot of impromptu, synchronized swimming. Up north, the wind's putting on a right show, a proper gale force hoolie, the sort that could blow your wig clean off and send it sailing over the Pennines. Hold on to your hats, folks, and keep your pets indoors, unless they fancy a free flight to Scotland. And in the west, it's a game of meteorological hide and seek. Sunshine peeping out one minute, showers the next. Pack a brolly, a sun hat, and maybe a waterproof poncho. You'll need 'em all, and that's all the weather.
Some 1863.
Hold on to your horses, because things are about to get right lively down in Virginia. It's 1863 and those Union boys are giving the Confederates a proper spanking at Bristow Station. They've outmaneuvered, outgunned, and outgeneraled those rebel rapscallions, leaving them with their tail feathers between their legs and a distinct lack of supplies. We go live now to our man on the battlefield, Brian Bastable, who's dodging cannonballs and stray grits. Brian, what in Sherman's name is going on?
Pamela, Bristow Station's hotter than a skillet full of fried chicken. Those Union boys are tearing through the Confederate lines like a pack of hounds through a hen house. The air's thick with the smell of gunpowder, sweat, and a hint of desperation, mostly from the Confederate side, I reckon. I just saw a Yankee soldier take down 3 rebels with a single shot, Pamela. The man's a sharpshooter extraordinaire, a regular Annie Oakley with a beard and a bad attitude. Those Confederates are scattering like cockroaches at a church picnic. They've lost their supplies, their nerve, and quite frankly, their trousers. I saw one chap running for his life with his pants around his ankles. Not a pretty sight, Pamela. The Union commander's strutting around like a rooster in a hen house, Pamela, his uniform spotless, his beard perfectly trimmed. He's got those rebels on the run and he knows it. This is a real turning point, Pamela, a right proper boot up the Confederate backside. This is Brian Bastable Newsbang, signing off from a battlefield that's running redder than a watermelon eating contest.
1964.
Breaking news from the Kremlin, where the political tectonic plates have shifted. Nikita Khrushchev, the shoe-banging, corn-loving leader of the Soviet Union, has been ousted. Shown the door, given the old heave-ho. For more on this political earthquake, we go live to our man in Moscow, Hardiman Pesto. What's the mood like in the Kremlin tonight?
Martin, the Kremlin is buzzing like a disturbed wasp's nest. Nikita Khrushchev, the shoe-banging, corn-loving leader of the Soviet Union, has been given the boot. Ousted Martin, kicked to the curb, sent to Siberia, or maybe a nice dacha by the Black Sea. Who can say? It's all very cloak and dagger over here, you see.
You're saying the leader of the Soviet Union has been removed from office, and you're not sure where he is?
That's the gist of it, Martin. I've been trying to get to the bottom of it, but every time I ask someone about Khrushchev, they just clam up. Give me a blank stare and mutter something about party loyalty. It's as if they're all speaking in code.
And who is this Leonid Brezhnev character who's replaced Khrushchev?
Brezhnev. Now there's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wearing a rather fetching fur hat, Martin, a man of few words, they say, but with eyebrows that could rival a Brezhnev's, got this aura of power about him, like a bear who's just woken up from hibernation and discovered his honey supply is missing.
Pesto, are you actually inside the Kremlin at this moment?
Well, Martin, I'm in a building, a very large, imposing building with red walls, golden domes, and rather stern-looking guards. And there's a peculiar smell of cabbage and borscht in the air.
I hate to break it to you, but I believe you're describing a supermarket, possibly a Tesco Metro. Could you please tell us exactly where you are?
Well, Martin, there seems to be some confusion about my location. I'm possibly not in the Kremlin after all, but I'm definitely in the frozen food aisle, and they've got a special offer on borscht this week. Back to you, Martin. Hello?
1912.
And on this day in 1912, former President Theodore Roosevelt, the man who wrestled bears and busted trusts, found himself on the receiving end of a bullet. Shot in the chest by a saloon keeper during a campaign stop, Roosevelt, with a bullet lodged near his heart, proceeded to deliver a 90-minute speech. It seems that this Rough Rider was tougher than a mouthful of gristle. For more on this brush with presidential mortality, we go to our American correspondent, Melody Wintergreen.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 1912. Melody Wintergreen here, outside the Gilpatrick Hotel, where history and hullabaloo are colliding faster than a bull moose in a china shop. Tonight, it's all about Teddy Roosevelt, a man who makes tough look like a day at the spa. A crowd has gathered, eager to hear the former president speak. The air is thick with anticipation, cigar smoke, and the faint whiff of danger. Suddenly, a shot rings out. Roosevelt, campaigning for another term, has just taken a bullet to the chest. But this is Teddy Roosevelt we're talking about. Does he crumple? Does he cry for his mama? Heck no! He steps up to the podium, blood staining his shirt, a bullet nestled near his heart, and says, "My friends, I have just been shot. But it takes more than that to kill a bull moose." The crowd goes wild. They've just witnessed the ultimate display of American grit. But hold on, folks, the drama's not over yet. Enter Dr. John Benjamin Murphy, a renowned surgeon, practically sprinting to the stage, his medical bag flapping like a worried pelican. "Mr. President," he pleads, "let me tend to that wound." But Roosevelt, the ultimate showman, waves him off. "Nonsense, doctor! I have a speech to deliver." And deliver he does, for a full 90 minutes. He speaks of ideals, of patriotism, of a nation on the rise, all while a bullet's lodged in his chest. It's a scene straight out of a Wild West dime novel, only this time, it's real life, and it's happening right here in Milwaukee. As Roosevelt wraps up his speech, the doctor finally gets his chance to play hero. And as they walk off together, arm in arm, the crowd erupts in a frenzy of patriotic fervor. This is Melody Wintergreen, Newsbang News, from the Gilpatrick Hotel, where history just got a shot of adrenaline, and Teddy Roosevelt proved that some men are just too tough to die.
Hedreen, 1066.
And now, back to a time when England got a Norman makeover. On this day in 1066, William the Conqueror decided it was time to bring some continental flair to this little island. For a report from the blood-soaked battlefield, it's our medieval maven, Bertrand Spitfire. Bertrand, take us back to the clash of civilizations.
1066, a year that echoes through the very tapestry of time, a year of clashing swords, flying arrows, and one very unfortunate eye injury. The Battle of Hastings, my friends, a showdown for the ages. On one side, those stalwart Saxons, led by King Harold Godwinson, a chap with a fine beard and a fondness for mead. They stood shoulder to shoulder, a wall of Anglo-Saxon muscle, ready to defend their land from those cheese-eating surrender monkeys across the Channel. And on the other side, those swaggering Normans, led by William the Conqueror, a fellow with a taste for conquest and a rather fetching haircut. They'd sailed across the sea with their fancy horses, their pointy swords, and their even pointier ambitions. The battle raged. Arrows flew thick and fast, swords clashed like thunder, and the ground trembled beneath the hooves of charging war horses. The Saxons fought like cornered badgers, but those Normans, they were a cunning lot. They feigned retreat, luring Harold's men into a trap. And then, wham! A stray arrow found its mark, right in the king's eye. Talk about a bad day at the office. With Harold out for the count, the Saxon resistance crumbled faster than a stale biscuit. William seized the crown, and England was forever changed. They got castles, fancy French words, and a legal system so complicated it could make a philosopher's head spin. A right royal Norman takeover.
The day news bang, unleashing a fistful of facts battering deception.
For a traffic report that's more classic than a vintage Cadillac, it's Polly Beep.
Hello, my little roadsters. Polly Beep here, your girl on the go, with a traffic report that's more exciting than a joyride in a convertible. we're setting our time machines to 1956, folks, and heading to Canada, where a brand new superhighway has just opened. The Queen Elizabeth Way, a ribbon of asphalt so grand it could make a beaver blush, is connecting Toronto to Niagara Falls. 4 lanes of pure driving pleasure, no more potholes, no more horse-drawn carriages clogging up the roads. Well, that's the idea, anyway. Reports are coming in of major confusion as those Canadian drivers try to wrap their heads around this newfangled concept of controlled access. Apparently some folks are using those on-ramps as picnic spots, others are trying to reverse up them, and one chap was even spotted trying to herd his sheep across the median strip. Meanwhile, down on Yonge Street, it's a scene straight out of Jurassic Park. A herd of time-travelling dinosaurs has wandered into town, causing traffic chaos. Those prehistoric party animals are stomping on cars, munching on parking meters, and I wouldn't be surprised if a few T-Rexes have developed a taste for maple syrup. This is Polly Beep signing off. Remember, folks, the future of travel is here, and it's probably best to leave those dinosaurs in the past.
Nice. 1947.
And now, our science correspondent Calamity Prendeville with a groundbreaking tale of sound and fury.
Hello viewers, tonight on Science Watch we're going supersonic. It's 1947 and a daring pilot has just smashed through the sound barrier. The world is in awe of American hero Chuck Yeager. But hold on to your hats, folks, because I'm about to reveal a shocking truth. Chuck Yeager was a Brit in disguise.
That's right. Chuck Yeager was actually a chap named Charles Yeagersworth from Swindon. He swapped his flat cap for a Stetson, his cuppa for a coffee, and even changed his name to sound more American. All part of a top-secret plan to bamboozle the Soviets.
And that Bell X-1 aircraft he flew? That sleek, rocket-powered beauty, nicknamed Glamorous Glennis, designed by a team of British boffins working in a secret lab hidden beneath a chip shop in Brighton. They powered that plane with a unique concoction of high-octane petrol and a dash of Worcestershire sauce. Genius!
As Yeagersworth hurtled towards the sound barrier, he reportedly muttered, "Blimey, it's a bit breezy out here. Could do with a nice cuppa and a biscuit." And then, kaboom! He smashed through that barrier like a bull in a china shop, sending shockwaves across the globe.
So, the next time you hear a sonic boom, viewers, remember the unsung hero of supersonic flight, Charles Yeagersworth, the Brit who broke the sound barrier. This is Calamity Prendeville, signing off.
Natitil, news bang, piercing through the veil of fiction with 1,000 pieces of journalistic excellence. 1926.
And finally, a seismic shift in the world of children's literature as A.A. Milne unleashes a honey-obsessed bear upon an unsuspecting public. Winnie the Pooh hit bookshelves today, introducing a menagerie of woodland creatures that experts predict will haunt the dreams of children for generations to come. The illustrations by E.H. Shepard have been described as alarmingly cute by leading psychologists. For more on this earth-shattering development in the realm of talking animals, we go to our cultural correspondent, Smithsonian Moss.
Now, at this point of the evening, we welcome listeners on FM who've just joined us.
Whoa-ho, Newsbang Nation, Smithsonian Moss here, your guide to all things cute, cuddly, and culturally significant. And honey, let me tell you, Winnie the Pooh ain't just some random teddy bear you win at a carnival. This bear is a goddamn icon, a literary legend that's been charming the pants off children and adults for almost a century. October 14th, 1926. Mark this date, folks. Because it's the day A.A. Milne unleashed Pooh and his posse of woodland weirdos upon an unsuspecting world. Now, this book was like the Beatles of children's literature. It blew up big time. We're talking 39 editions published in the first year alone. That's like going viral before the internet even existed. And let me tell you, there's a reason why this book has stood the test of time. It's those characters, baby. Pooh, that lovable, honey-obsessed bear with a brain full of fluff. Piglet, the anxious little piggy who's always on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Tigger, that bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, pouncy tiger who's basically the OG ADHD poster child. And Eeyore, the perpetually gloomy donkey who's more relatable than he has any right to be. But here's the thing. Winnie the Pooh ain't just a cute and cuddly story about talking animals. Milne was sneaking in some serious life lessons, honey. We're talking about friendship, loyalty, and the importance of embracing your inner weirdo. It's like a philosophical treatise disguised as a children's book, but instead of Kant and Nietzsche, you've got a bear who gets stuck in honeypots and a piglet who's afraid of his own shadow. It's genius, I tell you. And let's not forget E.H. Shepard's illustrations, those deceptively simple drawings that capture the essence of Pooh and his crew perfectly. They're like the visual equivalent of comfort food, honey, warm, fuzzy, and instantly recognizable. I bet those psychologists who called them alarmingly cute just haven't gotten enough hugs in their lives. So, there you have it, folks. Winnie the Pooh. A timeless classic that's as sweet as honey, as profound as a Zen koan, and as enduring as a mother's love. It's a book that will stay with you long after you've grown up, a reminder that the simple things in life are often the most important. And who knows? Maybe it'll even inspire you to go for a walk in the woods, have a picnic, and maybe even make friends with a talking donkey. Wahoo!
Nerdy News Bang, lifting the veil of delusion, one factual brick at a time.
And just time for a final flick through tomorrow's news sheets. The Times screams, Confederates capture Glasgow by the skin of their teeth. The Telegraph goes with, Turks told to get out of Vienna after siege that lasted longer than the Bible. The Mail's big story is, draft dodgers burn everything but their underpants. And the Express, God help us all, Suffolk's oldest sheep dies, more after the break. And now, a shocking twist. Police looking for one missing person find another who'd been hiding in a bush for 5 years. And that's your lot. We had the traffic news, but it got lost. Good night, England.
Tune in next time for more artificially intelligent hilarity. News Bang is a comedy show, written and recorded by AI. All voices impersonated. Nothing here is real. Good night.